So we're back at the Color Country Model Railroad Club's open house. They do that every November.
I look forward to it.
It's always fun, and we're traveling through Santa Clara right now, which is part of St. George, really. And we're heading over to Jim Harper's house.
Right.
He's got the most amazing railroad. And we always look forward to visiting him and his great railroad, but this year is especially important because here in just a couple of weeks, he's going to start taking the whole thing apart.
Yeah, it's sad.
So this is our last opportunity to see it. Jim's railroad is O-scale, but it's a Proto 48 railroad, so the gauge is different. Conventional O-scale uses a 5-foot gauge. Proto 48 uses a true 4-foot, 8.5-inch gauge, which is the true gauge of American railroads, American standard gauge railroad. We always love to see this. It's the most amazing railroad. But for the past few years, he's been saying, I really need to figure out what's going to happen to this railroad after I'm gone. And, well, he found somebody to buy the railroad. And they're going to be arriving here in about 2 weeks and start dismantling this railroad.
How are you, Dale?
Good, good. How about yourself?
Very well, thank you.
You're looking well.
Hanging in there.
Yeah.
It boggles the mind to think about taking a railroad like this apart and then transporting it almost 1,000 miles away.
It's interesting to note that this railroad actually started off in Reno, Nevada, and Jim moved it to St. George, I forget, like 15 years ago, something like that. He's been working on it for 37 years.
Oh, wow.
And there was a lot of addition and rebuilding and so on once he got it to St. George, because, you know, it had to fit into its new space, which it didn't really want to do.
Oh.
So what he has modeled is the Southern Pacific and up Donner Pass and the interchange with the Sacramento Northern.
Oh.
It was 17 years ago.
Where was it before?
Reno. I started in Reno.
You were in Reno.
That was and people say, hey, you've got a lot of money tied up in this. And I said, hey, listen, that fifth wheel out there in the truck to pull it costs a lot more than what I did.
This is fun. Way fun. Thank you so much.
Well, yeah, if things work out, the railroad is going to move to Eugene, Oregon in December, unless the deal falls apart.
But you have a deal in place, though.
We have a deal in place, yes.
Good.
But my wife, in our discussion, said, please get rid of your railroad before you die. So I don't want to have to take care of it, period.
Well, I'm sure you don't want to see it torn apart, too.
No, I didn't want to see it go bye-bye after 37 years of work. So I found somebody that can do that.
So sell it and somebody's going to move it then.
Yeah, it's a guy, his name is Chris Clune, C-L-U-N-E, lives in Eugene, and he's a single guy. He's building his own new home with a big basement. And his father there is Dave Clune. He has a beautiful ON3 layout. It's on television. You probably have seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cascade County, narrow gauge. So he's going to blend the two railroads together, according to him. So I'm waiting to see that.
That'll be tricky.
That would be good. Yeah.
He knows at least what he's undertaking. You've undertaken
He's
it once
already
by moving
doing
it here in the first place.
He's already doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so it'll be good. I had to find somebody who could maintain it. Otherwise, it would be gone in 6 months.
Yeah.
And so I had several responses to my notice that I wanted to find somebody, but the other two weren't qualified.
I see.
But he is very qualified.
So are you assisting with the disassembly?
Yeah. 4th and 5th of
That's going to
December,
be a big
as of
project.
right now.
4th and 5th of December, it gets
Right.
taken apart.
So we shall see.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy, but we can do it.
How does it come apart? Is there, what's the plan going forward here?
There are sections that are bolted together.
Okay.
What we'll have to do is cut the scenery and the rails and take it apart, and then he'll have to put it back together.
So where are these sections in? What parts are we looking at?
Well, you'd have to look underneath to
I see.
them.
Well, like this section here with the bridge, is this a section that comes
Yeah,
out?
it'll come apart right here,
Okay.
and then it'll go all the way across there.
Yeah.
So you'll have to cut. The rails are already cut because that's where I brought it from.
And then it's the same at this other end?
Yeah, if you look closely, you can see right here.
Oh, yes.
It'll go right up there, right up
Wow. Okay, so that's a really big section, that this whole mountain now.
there. The mountain will be all in one piece on the other side. It divides right here. You can see the crack there.
Yeah.
It divides there, and then the centerpiece is here.
So is that the sections then that you used when you moved it here?
Well, I lost the mountain when I moved it here.
Okay.
I had to build a new mountain. I finished the bridges here, so we've done a lot of work since I built it there.
And you brought it here how long ago?
17 years ago, 06, 05 actually. And so we built a house to have rough room for it, so that worked out well. Plus I have air conditioning too, which I didn't have in Reno.
The railroad always attracts a big crowd during the open house, but this year people have come in from all over. He's got friends all over the western states who know this railroad and know that this will be the last operating session ever. They're shutting the whole thing down at the end of this operating session and getting ready to dismantle it. So, wow, this will be it. So people have come from all over the place to be part of this last operating session. Oh no, I want you in there.
You want me? Well, you can't blame me for this.
Jim tells me you have quite a railroad.
Yeah, this is Ed Jacob, one of Bob Jacob's place. The middle way.
So you inherited the railroad?
Yes.
It's been Mariposa, yeah, 34 by 80. It's bigger than their house.
So what's the history on this railroad?
When my dad retired, he moved to an area where he got enough land to build a building and build a mono railroad. That was his lifelong dream.
Yeah.
So every day, we actually built the building and then built the layout inside of it. So.
And now you guys are running the layout?
Yeah, my dad passed away 2 years ago. And so, yeah. My mom still lives in the house, and I spend every other week there. And, well, we still have it open.
Is there a web address where we can look at it?
It is homestead.com/oscale.
I'll look for it. Hopefully a lot of people do. Because I've heard, but if we're ever in that area and they're doing something, it'd be fun to see it.
Yeah, typically we open for Oscale West.
Okay.
And then usually what we've been doing the last several years is had an outdoor barbecue in October where we've invited our train friends over.
Sweet. Now you came all the way here just to see Ed's railroad Jim's railroad for just...
I came over just to see Jim. I've seen his railroad before.
Sure.
Well, it's sure going to be different to attend this event and not come and see this railroad.
Yeah, it's been a high point.
Oh, it is one of my favorite railroads.
So going clear back to the Reno days, Jim's been making parts for the Proto 48 people. Became well known doing that, but some years ago he started selling all that off. So you manufacture or sell stuff, or what is it?
Yes,
So what is that?
all of that.
Yeah.
I build, I sell stuff, I make stuff, I get stuff other people make. It's kind of hard to define because I do a lot of different things. What would you say, Jim? I mean,
well, you kind of have to hit him with a couple of things. He sells a lot of track parts, as far as detailed parts, like frogs and
right away, like
yeah,
like these frogs and the points. Those are Red Cliff miniatures. But Jim, when he decided he'd had enough, sold Red Cliff miniatures to me.
Okay.
So we produced those parts. We produced similar parts for right away. These are Proto 48. Right away is O-scale, 2-rail. We also have American Switch and Signal, a portion of Protocraft, NCO shops. But that's the stuff we produce. But I have other stuff that other people produce. And it's really trying to provide everything a person might need to lay track and to build a lab.
So how would somebody find this stuff?
Well, we try to remain hidden as much as possible.
That's the best way to sell stuff.
We have a website. It's not a very good one, but it's right away. Right away, was it right-o-way.us.
So this is Bob Jarvis, and he just lives a few blocks from here, and he also has a really outstanding O-scale railroad. And he's got a group of friends that all come over and run on his railroad. So what's your name again?
My name's Jim Allen.
Okay.
Yeah, and I moved down here from Syracuse, Utah, up north. But so I had a little railroad down here. It was the beginning, but I'm starting to model, and I got plenty of things to do. I run on Bob's layout, and come down here and watch this layout, hang out with the guys.
Yeah.
So
and Bob has a railroad.
Yes.
We've just never actually seen it.
Right. Well, that
I've
we
seen
can
pictures of
fix that pretty
So
easily.
we've tried to see it, but
Okay.
somehow
Well,
A has never lined up with B or whatever it takes.
hopefully it will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'd
let's
be
get over
delighted
there
to have
and
you come over.
see that guy.
Very good. Maybe we can work it out this weekend.
Yeah.
If you have the time.
Yeah.
So there's a Challenger Pacific. So there's a variety of locomotives there. Some 4 of the Jeep 9s are up on the top. So at the moment, like I'm working on an FEF2 so that I redid this pilot so that it'd be a drop step pilot.
This is regular O-scale, not Proto.
Yeah.
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 Not a lot of
there's
Proto.
the cab and the all-weather door that I was putting on it. So this is the 800. There's the big 9 I just finished not too long ago.
I have to glare it off the screen here.
Oh, sorry.
There we go. That's really cool. Can you just take these over to Bob's house to run them?
No, his radiuses are too small.
Oh, okay.
The 412-2, it's all flanged.
Yeah.
It's not gonna fit around
Not
his
gonna fit
curves.
around that. Beautiful. Yeah, we got to get over there and see that. We visited that railroad while we were down here at the open house, and that'll be next week's show.
Right. Now, up to now, we hadn't seen it before, but what an amazing railroad.
Yeah, he doesn't put it on the open house, but he invited us over.
Right.
Jim has always been a big advocate of Proto 48, and it's actually starting to take off and becoming quite popular.
Well, when I got into Proto 48, there wasn't any track available for that gauge because it's compromised from O scale, which runs on a 5-foot gauge track, and I run on a 4 feet 8.5 inch track, so I had to build my own track. The switches and the track itself were all done from my patterns, and so it involves wooden ties and spikes to spike it down, and I even added a little tie plates that go under the rails to keep them from wearing through the ties. So that's all in here, and I got the parts and pieces from various manufacturers, and I built the track. After all, the track is a model too, besides the cars and the locomotives.
I have just always admired this track work, and on our own railroad at the garage, I've really tried to duplicate exactly what he has done here. It's mind-blowing, the detail.
I really like the water, the way that it looks. It's so realistic.
You know, the whole way he's done the canyon, the cliffs coming down. Here too, it's just really inspirational for our own modeling. And just the fun little details there, little scenes all around the railroad structures, and then when you look closely, the structures have full interiors in them. And each one of these little scenes tells its own story about what's going on. And Jim's son-in-law is a well-known figure artist, and a lot of the figures on the railroad were made by his son-in-law, painted by his son-in-law. We did a whole show on that. Here's a link, but look at the expert painting on so many of these figures. And as we mentioned earlier, the railroad represents an interchange between the Sacramento Northern and the Southern Pacific in the Bay Area. And the track work on the Sacramento Northern is even better than on the rest of the railroad, if that's possible. And it also has to have matching overhead wiring, and the idea of putting together all of this overhead electrical system. And then all of these traction engines have actual traction motors in them, multiple powered axles. It's just, it's mind-boggling. This whole railroad is just so amazing. There's a general concern about a lot of these model railroads that as the builders are getting up in years, that just exactly what is going to happen to these amazing railroads, and sadly, most of them end up being destroyed or parted out in some way and the bits and pieces sold off. Thank goodness that this railroad is going to survive in a new location. Well, we're going to miss this railroad.
Oh, definitely. I'm sure hoping we can see it again when it arrives at its new location.
I'm sure it's going to take years.
Oh, it'll probably take a while.
Yeah, but maybe once it's up and working up in Oregon, we can go up there and see it.
Right.
If the new owner will have us.
He might.
Anyway, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe, and you might even consider becoming a member.
Right.
There's a little join button there. It'll cost you a few dollars a month, but that helps financially support the channel. Anyway, the easy way to become just a subscriber, and that doesn't cost anything, is to click on the upcoming blue button. Zoink! Right there, the blue button. Well, we're not sure how you found this video on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring, and we'll see you here on Tuesday.
Right.
We'll see you then.
We'll see ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.